Jordan. Oh my goodness,
We have some-
Jordan, how you doing, man?
That's not him.
Oh, hey, Jordan, how you doing, man? Jordan, there he is. How you doing, man? I thought you looked a little young.
Leonardo DiCaprio did not play that guy in a
No, I thought he looked a little young. How you doing, my friend?
Well, how are you, Dave?
Nice to meet you, Dave.
Anthony.
Anthony,
Pleasure. Pleasure. Yeah, well, you got a hell of a story.
I do.
We know that. A movie made of it, of course. You did Time.
I did Time, yeah.
And how accurate was the movie?
I mean, it was pretty accurate. And the things that you think that weren't accurate.
Yeah, oh boy.
I'm sorry.
Gonna need
happens
some.
to be at my age, so I can't keep it up anymore, right?
Coke dick.
Yeah, you know, it's Coke. That is Coke dick, by the way. You know, but no, but now they have Viagra for Coke dick, so
Yeah.
they've come up with a solution for it.
Mix it
Sounds
up.
like you know it really well, right?
A little Coke dick was yeah. Oh my
Are we
god.
doing this on purpose?
Yeah.
You got to fix the microphone for
All
the.
right, we'll keep right there. Here. All right, that's good.
If you oh no, it's going again. I think.
I don't know.
I think we're okay. Here we are.
Yeah, if you were able to make it through the Coke dick thing, then you were good all night. But
You had to get it right. Once you got it,
through the
yeah, which is easier said than done.
easier said than done.
Well, if the whiskey
But
did.
it still feels good, Coke. I didn't, it's like bad for you.
There was a lot. Yeah,
You got more Coke dick.
that is like.
That's okay. Anyway,
You probably
on
put it up
Quaaludes.
higher.
Exactly.
It works just as
fine.
well.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah,
I did want to
There you
ask,
go.
though, was the Quaalude fight scene accurate?
Well, no, not the Quaalude fight scene, but that whole scene up until that is what happened was I actually got arrested when I came home. They came in and took me out of bed because I hit a bunch of cars on the way home. But I wasn't fighting with, that was the movie. But the part with the fight scene, Danny was like taken away to the hospital or something because like, he overdosed on the ludes as well.
Oh.
But the whole thing was accurate, like taking the ludes, going down, rolling down the stairs, 100%. Yeah.
Totally out of control.
Yeah, it was. It
Oh
was.
my god! And the way you made that much money, that's what finally got you in trouble. What was kind of illegal about it?
No, the illegal part was smuggling the money to Switzerland is what I got in trouble for.
Can't just take your fucking money and go to Switzerland?
Not millions of it, maybe a few dollars you can, but after,
Like a Madoff scam, sort of.
No. It was a legitimate company did legitimate IPOs, and we did some stock manipulation in there, but that's a new thing on Wall Street. But the big thing I got in trouble for was taking profits and putting them in,
trying to hide,
and putting them in taxes and stuff. Yeah.
Who wants to pay taxes?
Exactly.
Pain in the
Who does?
ass.
Especially if you're in New York or California, where we are.
Right, now you're going
it's
to
insane.
get double fucked with
terrible.
the state and federal.
Exactly.
Oh
And you
my
can't write off the state against the federal anymore, which sucks even
Right, now
further.
you can't even deduct your state.
So I'm bailing out of California. I'm actually going to move to either Nevada or to Florida this year. I
Yep,
can't
that's
take
where
it.
a lot of people are going to get the fuck out of.
I can't take it.
I don't know how. Look, New York is terrible. I don't know how you deal with California.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
It is really bad. Have you had your power shut off yet?
I haven't. That's happens when you're a little bit further up north.
Right, north.
Yeah. And they use the excuse of the wildfires.
Yeah.
It's a new thing,
Where you
Isn't
living
that
now,
great?
LA?
I live in LA, yeah.
Yeah.
There's fires. So what are you going to do about it? Yeah, we're going to cut your power off.
Exactly. Okay.
What does that do?
I think I'm guessing. I didn't really look into it that deeply, but I'm guessing that if the electrical grid is shut down, there can't be any sparks created.
Ah, right.
I think probably that's creating some of these brush fires that then spiral out of control and so
I
forth.
think they would figure that out.
Right? You figure they would.
Since, Edison and Tesla
Exactly.
figured out how to keep
They've
that.
had 100 years already. Yeah?
Right. So you made, how much money would you say you made? Over
Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions.
hundreds of millions
Yes.
of dollars.
Yeah, I made a lot of money.
That's insane.
I don't think making money is not difficult. I mean, I still make a lot of money today, and it's never been something I found difficult to do.
Yeah.
I think far more difficult is being happy.
Well, that's not.
That's true. I was
Achieving
reading some of
happiness
your
is a
stuff
little more
about-
difficult, I think.
About that, like the fact that money doesn't necessarily buy you happiness or whatnot. But I will say, it can push away a lot of evil sadness.
No, well, listen, here's my take on money, right? While it doesn't buy you happiness, a lack of money is a passport to misery.
Yeah.
And if you are happy, you can use money in so many amazing ways. Now, listen, some elements, money can buy some. It's not that it buys happiness. When you're already happy, it's just makes you incredible. You can do so many great things. But if you're miserable, I don't care how much freaking money you have, you're
Right.
going to be miserable,
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
Yeah, the inability to pay simple bills, things like that, will cause you misery in your life.
How many marriages have you seen destroyed over fights over money and relationships and, sick children that can't get the medical care they
gotta
need?
be
It's just terrible. It's a terrible
crazy
thing. So I believe money's almost like a problem to be solved. Solve the money problem, then you can move on to everything else,
Yeah. It is odd because especially these days, so many people talking about socialism and capitalism and the obvious
morons
difference between the two.
Freaking morons.
Yeah. People don't understand socialism's been tried many times globally under many different regimes. And
it's a disaster.
doesn't work.
It's a total disaster. It will never work. And it will never come to the United States. People cannot be that freaking stupid, okay?
God, you got to hope.
It will destroy the fabric of the economy so quickly. It would happen so fast that it would take, listen, in 24 months, everything will be spiraling out of control. And less.
I don't know if it comes from, does it come from a naive state of mind? Or
No.
does it come from people actually thinking they're going to help the masses?
No. It's simply a matter of brainwashing happening in our educational institutions by a bunch of leftists, anarchist maniacs who have taken over our educational system starting in grade school. The kids get indoctrinated now. I saw it with my own children, okay? They get indoctrinated by this is corrupt, bankrupt morality in our educational system right now, fueled by the government, the bankers allowing spiraling education costs because of student loans. The whole thing's one giant fucking scam, all right?
Yeah.
And it needs to be ripped apart from the center out, ripped apart, all right?
Absolutely. I think when Trump was elected, I said before the election, I'm voting for him because I want a monkey wrench lobbed into the machine, because that's what we needed at that point.
Yeah, I don't want to say, let me just clarify that. I'm not saying that it's not good to go to college. I'm not saying that. I think college can be important for certain people. Can be for certain people. My daughter went to college. It was the best. She's a professional. She got a license. She's now a master's. So she really used it, right? But this whole vicious cycle of people borrowing money and then using government guarantees to inflate tuition prices. Tuition should be 1/10 of what is not free.
Absolutely.
But it should be 1/10. It's gone up for no other reason that if you give people free, watch how quickly tuition costs come down when no one can afford college. It's all supply and demand. They've created an artificially large demand by giving people money, so that just forces, and you can't blame the universities. Well, hey, fuck, we'll just raise the prices if people are dumb enough to pay it, okay? And they've created this false pretense that you need a diploma to be successful, yet it's just completely false. So I love college. I went to college. It was great. It was a great social learning experience for me, and I think that you should go to college if that is required for your path.
Yeah.
Not everyone needs to.
Do you come from like a middle class background, or do you come from a wealthy background?
Lower middle class.
Lower middle class. So I guess for the idea with socialism, I look at if a lot of people just want something and they think that they have absolutely nothing, I think it'd probably be easy to brainwash. Like, hey, if you just go with this philosophy, you get something.
Well,
what made you hungry when you got out to do what you did?
My hunger is something that dates back to as far back as I can remember. I literally, from the time I was very young, I always wanted nice things. I watched my parents, who were both highly educated, hardworking, brilliant people, brilliant and broke. Hardworking, educated, brilliant, broke. And I realized there was some things that were missing from the equation. And one of them was this risk-averse Depression-era mentality they had. They would never take any risks. They would never, even engage in anything entrepreneurial. Then on the other side, they had a distaste for anything related to, believe it or not, with me as their son, sales and persuasion. They thought sales and marketing were evil. And because of that, they lived a life that was really based on lack in terms of financial situations. And they were both CPAs. My mom became a lawyer. They could have easily marketed their services and built nice incomes. And I remember when I was 12 years old or 11, I wanted to buy a dirt bike. And I wanted for my birthday, get them a dirt bike. And they're like, we can't afford it. I'm like, what do you mean? You guys are both CPAs. My mother sat me down and she's like, watch, here's how much money we make. And I was fucking appalled. I'm like, that's all you make?
Oh,
I'm like, how dare you? I felt offended by that. And at that moment in time, I was like, that's it. I mean, I even earlier that I liked nice things, but that's when I realized that there was, a certain mentality that included taking risks. And also I was a natural born salesperson. So that came to me easily.
Isn't that a talent? I mean, honestly, I think being able to sell something is as much a talent as being a stand-up comic.
Absolutely.
Is to that. Being an artist is to painting. Or
Yes, it is, of course.
Not everybody has it in them to sell.
That's not true. That anybody
You really think
I
anybody?
know so. I've trained millions. Listen,
Comic sells himself.
No,
You're
listen.
selling yourself right now.
true.
Listen, I will tell you this. All right, that I have trained millions of people all over the world, and I could take any human being, regardless of their natural ability, their education, if they have the drive and the desire to become proficient at selling. I'm not saying I could take someone with zero talent and make them as good as me.
Right.
But what I can do is get them good enough that it removes it from the equation of stopping them from making money. Most people go through life severely disempowered. Let's just call it their communication platform. Their internal communication platform is severely hampered. They don't know how to get their thoughts and hopes and ideas and dreams out to people around them so they can have the best idea, but without the ability to express that and get people to buy in, what do you have? You have just words, so people end up living these small lives so they can't communicate effectively. I could take anyone, and I teach a course that does this, and it works like gangbusters, and it changes people's lives. I'm not saying you're going to become me, and you don't want to become me. You want to become your best self. But certainly you can become good enough that won't be why you didn't succeed in life.
I think it's like self-esteem and like class predisposition that prevents people from that.
I think it's a lot of things. I think that some people are blessed with an ability. I was blessed with a natural ability. I came out and I just was a great talker, communicator.
That's a huge part.
Yeah, of course, right? And then there's all these social cues we have that we pick up along the way. For instance, many people have a fear of public speaking or selling. And what happened was it starts from when they do it the first time and they fail at it. And they say, oh, wow, I failed. Maybe I'm not good at this. When actually, no one gave you a strategy. So a kid gets up in third grade to give a speech, and he's not a natural, and he's like, doesn't know what to say, how to say it.
It's all good because the kids won't make fun of him.
He gets terrible,
exactly.
and he gets anxiety.
Yes.
And then what that does, that negative result causes a limiting belief to form inside of him. So next time he's faced with that same task, he starts to get nervous and he sort of steps away and his results are even worse. You get this self-fulfilling prophecy and a cycle of limiting beliefs reinforcing themselves. Versus someone like myself, where the first time I got like, oh, how about, and the words came out, and oh, wow, I'm really good at this and this feels good. Let me practice it. Let me do it more. And I started studying it and I perfected a skill that I have a natural affinity for. The good news is you can interrupt that cycle. No matter how disempowered you might feel, you can break those limiting beliefs. It takes work, but it starts off with a desire to say, hey, you know what? I don't like the way my life is right now. I don't feel like I'm empowered. I'm living a disempowered life. And they come to people like me, and I'm probably the best in the world at helping people become effective communicators.
That's like stand-up comedy, who we were saying before.
Yeah,
you
when I
get on
started,
stage and
yeah.
bomb, you have to get back up on that stage at some point.
But I was willing to continually fail, and
Right.
still, but just continually
As I
fail.
do on a nightly basis.
But
Come see me fail.
You do see that. A lot of people that come one time and they're like, oh, never again.
Never
You have
again.
to
Right.
continue
They
to
just
do it.
get demolished the first time.
But I am
and never want to.
Yeah, but like the way you said, starting when you're young, I have a 4-year-old. So let's say he has a public speaking and you have children. What's the secret that you would tell your kids in that moment for the first time they do public speaking? Because I've never really considered that. I just do it for a living, and I don't know how and picture everybody in their underwear is just a load of horse shit. So it's like what,
Number one, listen, remember this, communication itself is broken down into 3 distinct chunks. Number 1 is the words you say. Number 2 is the tonality in which you say them. Number 3 is your body language as you say them, right? So 2 cut to what's called unconscious communication, tonality, body language. Words go to the logical mind, right? What happens very often with someone who is not natural when they're very young is they stand up, they're ill-prepared, all right? No one sat down and prepared and rehearsed them, said, no, lower your voice here, tell a story here, okay? Make it personal, use active dialogue, all the things that are actually very simple strategies to employ if you know them. So if it was my child, I would actually coach them and prepare them, not make them work and learn how to give an effective speech. So hopefully they had a positive experience at first. If they still had a negative experience, then that's okay. You address that and you say to them, okay, well, what's the lesson from, an experience is an experience. What meaning you apply to it, again, through language, you could say, oh, I just suck on the beginning. Or maybe I should have worked harder at it. Maybe I should learn more. You can change the meaning of any experience based on what language you apply to it. So I would certainly intervene and not allow my child to wallow in the negative self-talk of, oh, I just suck.
You think the majority of people give up right away? I see it as people might take that chance one time, and then if it doesn't pan out, they just go, fuck it.
I think it's more a continuum. Like you have some people, yeah, they just give up. They're not resilient. Other people are somewhat resilient. They do it grudgingly and they become decent at it, and it doesn't disempower them, but never going to become experts. Others, like you said, I don't care how many times I fail. I'm resilient. I'm going to keep coming back until I perfect this, because you have drive, and that really comes from something else, which is the vision you have for your future. I want to be a comic. I want to do something. I'm willing to take the negativity and the rejection, whatever else it takes, the sucking. Because listen, remember, look at it this way: children, when that we're born, they don't know how to walk. We all walk. We take it for granted. Why? Well, because when we're learning to walk, we fall down 8,000 times. And every time we fall down, as a child, as an infant, we know intuitively, okay, well, look, I'm not supposed to walk perfectly the first time. But every time we fall down, your parents are like, oh, it's okay. They pick you up. And then that first step you take, everyone's like, oh, my God, look, Johnny's walking. They take the video camera. Everyone's clapping and cheering. But meanwhile, what's Johnny doing? He's like, he's doing the fucking Frankenstein walk. He looks like shit. But everyone's like, so. But then what happens 6 months later? Johnny is running. Because he got positive reinforcement, support all the way, and also intuitively, he knew he wasn't supposed to do it right the first time. Same thing goes for adults. You try any new task, you pick up a tennis racket, a golf, what are you going to be an expert the first time?
Right.
No. So you take lessons, you practice. But most people, when it comes to success and things like speaking or selling or marketing or whatever it might be, they will have a negative first experience. They'll say, maybe I'm not good at this. They'll feel bad about it. They won't do the work. They won't, listen, you want to play the piano? Take fucking piano lessons. You want to play tennis? Take tennis. You want to learn to sell? Take sales lessons. It's the way the world works.
Yeah.
Strategies for everything.
Well, and with comedy, you weaponize, and even with this, like with what you do, we sort of weaponize, the vulnerability and the negative self-talk. Because you always hear the don't do the negative self-talk. And as a comic, that's part of your job, is to shit on yourself.
Right. Still, self-deprecating humor is always, it touches people because we all feel it. Yeah.
Right. So
makes sure people identify with you. It's a very powerful tool for sure.
Did you? Because I'm going from the movie here, but did you ever feel bad about some of the people you were selling to? That maybe they didn't have that money, or
they did.
They were a little naive.
The people I sold, they did. I sold. It was only very rich people. I still felt bad though.
Yeah,
but they were rich. They were not. People were not losing their life savings. They just simply weren't.
No, huh?
Just it wasn't like that. I was calling very rich people. So the guy that we called had accounts at 8 other firms: Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs. He was getting killed all over the place, and we were just one other firm and a smaller version of that. That doesn't make it right. I'm not trying to minimize that it was wrong to do, but it wasn't like people lost their life savings. They simply didn't. And I actually had the FBI agent on my podcast who indicted me. We're friends now.
Oh shit!
And I said to him, I said, on my
John Hamm played in the movie.
Yeah, was it John Hamm? No, it wasn't. Was it? No, it was Kyle.
That's right. Yeah.
Anyway, but I had him on my podcast, and I said to him, I said, what is this? There's a really weird false narrative that I called poor people. I know it never happened. He goes, no, let me explain. He goes, what happened was when you were running the firm, you were vigilant. There was no one, only rich people were allowed to participate. And it was it was a brokerage firm. We were selling real stocks, okay, whatever. It was somewhat rigged against them, like most of Wall Street is rigged against the investor, right? But no poor people were allowed to open up accounts. It just did never happen. When the one part of the movie that's fictional is that when I gave that speech and said, fuck it, I'm staying, that's not true. I actually left. I left the firm, and I was running in Steve Madden Shoes was my other company. So I'd started Steve Madden Shoes, and I was now running Steve Madden Shoes. My firm then was run by other people than me, and then it spiraled out, and they started calling people who weren't mostly rich, but people who were not rich, and that happened not that, listen, I guess I'm responsible, I started it, but I was not on my watch. I would not call poor people, and I would absolutely have never done that, and I didn't do it.
And how did the Steve Madden Shoes thing come about?
So that part of the movie is totally fictionalized.
Yeah.
Steve was actually a startup shoe company. He had one shoe, and he was best friends with my junior partner, and he came to me, and I gave Steve Madden, the company, it was a startup, dead startup, $1 million. I took 85% of the company myself. Steve owned only 15%.
Holy shit.
I then turned around the next day and sold 30% of my 85% for $1 million, ended up with 55% for free.
For free.
That was my stake. Then I started helping Steve grow the company, and Steve was a brilliant designer of shoes, and I have nothing but massive respect for Steve, and he's really grown over the years as a businessman. But back then, he wasn't a businessman. He had no fucking clue. He was smart enough to know that, so he surrounded himself with some very smart people.
Right.
So I was helping him run the business side. Steve was the designer. And and it just worked. It was one of
I
those
had girlfriends that had fucking closets full.
No, no, no. It was an amazing company.
Yeah.
And then what happened was I took it public, and then Steve and I had a bit of a falling out, and he tried to take some stock that I owned, and I sued him publicly. We settled, and that's that.
Yeah, they were pretty smart with those.
I wish him nothing but success. He's a great guy.
Those big-headed girl commercials were pretty interesting and kind of got the name out there.
So I am sorry to use the actor's name, but with Jonah Hill and how you met that guy smoking crack and all that in that room, was that basically true? Was that?
Oh, the real story is far better.
Oh, okay. What is that?
So it was. I met Jonah Hill not in a diner. I met the Jonah Hill character. His name was Danny.
Okay.
And Danny was living in my apartment building. And I used to see him around from here, time to time. And then one day I was looking out my window, and my terrace faced the playground. He was playing with his son. His son fell off the sliding pond, took a big tumble. So I went down. Said, "Oh, is your son?" I was like on the fourth floor, so I just went right down. "Is your son okay?" He was like bawling hysterically, right? And he goes, "Yeah, yeah." And he goes, "Hey, what do you do, Frank? I see you home all the time. Like, what do you do?" I said, "I'm a stockbroker." And then just like literally just word for word, he goes, "Dude, if you make $60,000 a month, show me a pay stub, I will quit and work for you." And sure enough, I showed him a pay stub, and he quit right then. And then about a few days later, my wife's like, I heard some rumors about this guy. Like, I think he married his first cousin. I'm like, get the fuck out of here. I'm like, I'm spending every day with this guy. He would tell. I mean, I was out with the two of them, right? And they kind of looked alike. I was a bit like, and I'm like, no fucking way. So then what happens is, like, a few days later, I'm like, we're out for dinner. I'm like, Danny, I heard some shit about you. He goes, what? I said, I don't want to speak. He goes, no, tell me. I said, well, I heard that, like that you and Nancy will, first. He goes, oh, yeah, it's true. I said, he goes, oh, but it's not really like that. I didn't really see her for like 10 years, and she grew up hot. And then my friends all wanted to fuck her. And I'm like, well, I'm not letting my friends fuck my cousin. That's disrespectful. So I'm going to fuck my cousin. And then so I figured, what the fuck? And next thing I know, I married my cousin, right? And then about a week after that, I was like, holy fuck,
The kid was falling down a lot.
And then I took him into the city one day. He was my cold caller. I was a broker. He was a cold caller back then, working with me. And I took him in to do my taxes. He was just my assistant there. And on the way out of the city, we're going through Harlem back then, like 125th Street, and I barely even know this fucker, right? And he's like, stop the car. I'm like, what the hell? So I pull over, he jumps out of the car, and I'm waiting there like in Harlem, looking around, oh fuck, He comes back out like a minute later with a brown paper bag. He goes, just drive. And he pulls out a crack pipe and crack vials, and he goes,
oh, fuck.
And he starts smoking crack. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I'm like, stop it. I'm like, he's like, no. He's like, it's the fucking, I'm like, I'm not doing that shit. He's like, you guys are right, fine. I'm easily, so I took one hit of crack. Now, you have to understand, at this point, I was married to wife number one. Oh, this many wives ago, right? I never been in trouble before. I was a model husband, right? I take the first hit of crack. Well, let's just say 16 hours later, I hadn't called more. I was like a crack then with hookers and funk, and the night ended at 5 a.m. in the basement garage of our apartment building with us like corralled back in chairs, smoking the screen, trying to get the last residue from
Where's more crack?
Get it? And the only thing that stops, I ran out of money, all right? When I went upstairs and knocked on the door, my wife hadn't called her. I just vanished for 6. She takes one look at me, and I reeked of hookers, crack, and funk, basically. And she just lets me in the bed. She puts me to sleep, and I sleep for 3 days straight. All right? I'm like, I'm just destroyed. And I'm like, that's it. When a day 3, I'm like, I'm going to fire that motherfucker. This guy is not good for me. I want him out. And I'm like, that's it. And I call my office. I'm like, whatever happened to that Danny guy? They're like, what do you mean? He's been here every single day. I'm like, what?
He's able to get it.
Go get her.
I was like, I said, the next Tuesday, he goes, yeah, he was in at 8 o'clock. And I said to myself, a guy like that, he must have 666 under his scalp or something.
If he can do that.
I said, I'm going to fire his ass. So I get dressed up. I go down to the office. I'm ready to fire the guy. I hear he's sheepishly calling. I'm like, fuck it. I'll just fuck it. I lent him $5,000 and became my junior partner. And that was it, And then it came from all that,
Was there truth to that giant party you had where he's just jacking off? And
that was Mark Hanna, actually. No, that was...
that was a guy,
so I feel bad for Danny in some respects. It's like they collapse. What they do with movies very often is they collapse things into one character.
Right.
So that was actually the Mark Hanna character. It actually happened just like that. With the Margot Robbie character walked in and Mark Hanna pulled his dick out and started jerking off right there. His wife ran over. Pretty funny.
Such a hilarious scene, man.
I know, it's pretty funny.
So how long did you spend in jail?
22 2 months, and that's really how I came to write the book. I had no intention, but when I got to jail, they put me into a cell. Who shared with me? Tommy Chong from Cheech and Chong.
I know him.
Yeah, he was my bunkmate. So because we were both high profile, so they put us in the same cell to watch us, I guess. And there's not much to do in jail except tell stories. So I would tell him stories of my life, and he was rolling on the floor, right? And then the third night, he's like, I really thought you were full of shit, making this stuff up. But my wife Googled you, and it's all up. And he goes, I can't believe you did this. He goes, you have to write a book. I'm like, really? He goes, dude, your life, because I didn't think my life was that crazy. It was mine. It was like just happened, and it was like, you get desensitized. I was like the proverbial, mouse that you drop in not boiling water, but lukewarm water, and you slowly turn up the heat and you boil the mouse to death. I didn't realize it because I'd become desensitized versus the mouse you drop into boiling water, he jumps out, right? So I didn't think it was so insane. He goes, no, you have to write this book. So I started writing, and that's how it all became. Yeah, I all saw it. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
In the movie, they allude that it was a very white collar prison, and that
it was. Oh yeah. I had a butler. I had someone cooking for me. Yeah,
serious?
But it was still jail. Jail's jail. It sucks. I wasn't getting
not allowed to go anywhere you want to go.
Yeah.
That's jail.
The instant idea of prison is, of course.
No, I wasn't. I wasn't worried about bending over in the shower. It wasn't like that.
Tommy Chong.
Chong.
Hey, I'm gonna fuck you in the ass, man.
That wasn't like.
No.
Smoke your dick like a bone.
Yeah. Jail sucked, but for me, I had two options. One was I was going to let jail get the best of me, or I was going to make the best of jail, and I chose the latter option. And I taught myself a skill. I taught myself to write. I didn't know how to write. Like I was talking before about strategy. I tried to write, and I failed for the first month, and my pages were terrible. I'd show my pages to Tommy. He's like, "Oh, that really sucks." I'm like, "Oh, thanks, Tommy. Tell me what you really think," And then I stumbled upon a book called Bonfire of the Vanities by Tom Wolfe. And as soon as I started reading that, I'm like, wow, that is how I want to write. And I took the book and I read through it in one day, 700 pages. And I took out my yellow highlighter and I used
the movie was good.
I used it like a textbook, and I taught myself to write in jail, and that's how it all happened.
That's smart.
Plenty of time.
Exactly.
Plenty of time to do it. We have an investing method.
We do.
That has worked out pretty well.
It's here.
It's a little controversial.
Okay.
Because it's called investing.
It's based on Papa John.
And it started with Papa John. People are very knee-jerk these days.
Very reactionary.
Very reactionary, very outraged at everything. And if you recall, Papa John, he dropped an N-bomb during a meeting with people that were supposed to get his image, make his image better.
Yeah.
Just a clusterfuck.
Yeah.
And when that came out, the stock went down. We bought right away. Right away.
Probably smart move.
Because you know what? The fucking pizza's the same.
Yeah,
the numbers are the
Chick-fil-A or something, right?
They're outraged. This fake outrage that drives the stock down for a day or two, it comes right back up. It's amazing.
And it's happened several times over.
Several times. There was sexual harassment stuff with the CEO. Bam, the stock goes down.
CBS stock.
He hit it. Boom.
Is it Les Moonves we invested?
Within days, it's back.
I like it.
So, we're always looking for a news story about a company that had a CEO or some high-profile guy that fucked up.
And you think that makes sense, just to play basically on the?
Well, sure. I mean, it's what you're doing is you're. It's not just. It's part of a bigger class of investing called distressed asset investing.
Distressed asset.
You're like looking at a distressed asset that's after, what's the best time to buy real estate? After the day after the crash. So you buy real estate. What's the best day to buy a stock? The day after it goes down because of bad news. You don't want to buy on the good news. You buy on the bad news after the stock.
Right.
Warren Buffett has got a great saying. He goes, I want to be greedy when everyone else is fearful, and fearful when everyone else is greedy.
Perfect.
It's a contrarian viewpoint here.
Of course.
And it works really well. And the idea, though, is to just not to, become emotional with your own shit, like you want to get in and get out, unless you're really buying the fundamental value of the company, in which case you're doing more of a buy and hold strategy. But I would like to see you, I think that you should do that, but temper that with the fact to make sure that the actual fundamentals are good as well. That, like, as you said, you brought up a very good point. You said the pizza's still great, still the pizza, right? So you want to make sure that the company itself is fundamentally sound.
Yeah.
Because if it's not, and also how much of it is tied up in the identity of, let's just say you probably wouldn't want to buying the Weinstein Brothers stock the day after Harvey Weinstein died,
right.
because it's so much wrapped up in the identity of the company.
Sure,
So there are some exceptions to that rule, but if you're smart about what you're doing, I think it's a very sound strategy.
Yeah. Are you allowed to have anything to do with Wall Street anymore?
course.
Oh, you are.
You are? Okay.
I'm speaking tomorrow at a conference of Wall Street and compliance officers.
Oh, wow. So you still trade or
Trade, yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe they put.
I don't trade as much as I used to because I was the casino.
Yeah.
And it's very hard to trade. I don't like being like the guy that's like, I believe that the best strategy right now, any strategy, is to simply buy the S&P in a no-load ETF and just fucking hold it.
You're a long, yeah,
A pen.
long
Seriously.
term. Hold on.
And that's
to
what
it.
Warren Buffett says, and I think Warren Buffett's a smart fucking guy.
Oh, yeah.
Trended up forever. So
But what happens is a lot of managers. I'm not saying you can't do well yourself, but if you just buy the S&P and hold it historically, you'll beat 99% of all the fund managers out there.
I use my fucking E-Trade account like it's an online poker.
That's different. And that's
That's
fun.
what I
Just
do with
fun.
my
By the way,
Fidelity
that's
one.
fun as long as you
fun, yeah.
you got money that you could afford to lose or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
That's fine. Yeah, and that's a different aspect of it.
It is fun
I'm talking
when
about your
you get
long-term
something.
conservative money. I just would buy an ETF. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
What do you, oh, sorry.
No, I don't go for any really high risk stuff with my
we
real
play
money.
like that. Yeah, I let other
Yeah.
people handle my.
Yeah, but as far as trading, like I love options trading. Is fun, shit like that.
not?
It's fast. It's fucking
What's your take on crypto?
you can lose a lot of money.
I'm not a fan. I mean, I'm not a. Let me.
Do you invest in it though?
No, I never have. I never have. I was really, really negative on crypto back when it was up at 20,000. I had one of the greatest calls of all time. When it was like 20,000, I said it's gonna fucking get destroyed. And literally within like, the next morning, the
Wow.
carnage started. That was coincidence.
dropped
That was coincidence. I didn't time it. Like I knew it was gonna drop. I didn't know it would
some
drop
point.
the next day. I thought it'd be over the next few months, but I was right almost to the day. And I was publicly very much against crypto. Not because I think that blockchain technology is bad. I think actually it has a lot of great uses. And I also think crypto itself can one day, have a place. The problem was the inflationary aspects of crypto. At the time, when I was really coming out against it, it was all one big giant Ponzi scheme.
Yeah, because where's that value coming
Well, it was the
from?
great. Well, yeah, well, you could say, that's true. And you could say the same thing about fiat currency, and that's their argument. Oh, what's the value of the U.S. dollar? Well, it's the full faith and credit of the U.S. and the economy, blah, 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 and the military. But the point is that there's two things that make me a crypto bear. One was the inflation that was going on. Because if you're really going to have crypto as a storehouse of value added as a medium of exchange, it can't be inflating it's just not, that's not rational.
Right.
That's bullshit. That's not a medium of storing of value or exchange. It's not. You could never use it for anything like that, right? So that
Right.
part. And the second part is I don't believe governments will allow it to ever become a real part of the monetary system because that they've spent. Look how much time and energy they spent rooting out the Swiss banking system and all that stuff. I'll say, oh, great, let's just hand it over now to currency.
Right, we'll give them this. They could hide their money somewhere.
There's many people, smart people out there that think that the U.S., the reason they allow it to continue is because they know exactly what's going on with the crypto and they can track every freaking dollar and the NSA knows exactly where your money is. So they say, yeah, let them think their money is safe in
It's
crypto.
untraceable.
It's not true. It's traceable because
It's totally traceable.
It's totally traceable.
Yeah, it's totally
They're going to crack it. They own your computer if they want to. Let them think.
Yeah,
How
yeah.
you get a freaking store? They have your keyboard. They know if you strike on your keyboard. They
You
don't
have,
just
you have to put in your social security number.
everything.
You
At
get a
some
coin
point,
wallet.
another-
I mean,
right.
They know where you are.
It's just like I think that
gotta claim it.
I don't think that. I think one day, a government-backed cryptocurrency will become very prevalent. But I don't think it's these. I'm really still very negative on the current crop of cryptos.
Yeah,
Is it Google that's going for their own?
Apple.
Who's going for it?
Apple.
Apple?
No, sorry,
No, Google
Facebook.
is.
Oh, Facebook.
No, it
They
was
call
Facebook.
the coin is called an L, I think.
No, Google
Libra.
just started
Yeah,
though,
Libra.
like a day ago or 2
Oh,
days
yeah.
ago. Yeah, Google just put
I get it.
their hat in the ring to try to crush Bitcoin.
Libra. Yeah, they
you're
were
right.
talking about the
Facebook
fact
had
that
it.
Libra.
A
They got
lot of-
rejected heavily by Congress.
Yeah.
They
They
came
were
down.
saying that a lot of countries that have unstable governments and unstable
Yeah,
currency, that would give them this stability. But you own it. You own the country at that point.
I mean that.
That's
It's just
why people
listen.
get killed for
Here's the
$3
thing,
million
okay?
in
Listen.
Bitcoin.
Here's the
Yeah.
thing. There is so many stupid aspects to Bitcoin that just are just idiotic. The energy consumption, the lack of safe places to store your Bitcoin. People are getting ripped off on this shit all the time.
Yeah.
It's a joke. I mean, so it doesn't make any sense to me. I'm not saying that you can't make money trading Bitcoin, because you can. Okay, now, I know people personally that made a lot of money in Bitcoin, and good for them. I just don't think for the regular investor to dabble in Bitcoin, I think it's a very dangerous game. And if I was living in a third world country and I travel to these places all the time, I do a lot of speaking there, and there Bitcoin, yeah, their currency's unstable, but still, I was in Colombia, by the way, very short, Medellin. They have the most Bitcoin machines, I believe.
Oh, really?
Any place on earth.
Cocaine.
Yeah, and cocaine, by the way, right?
That should tell you a little something
Yeah,
right
and
there.
you gotta just, I gotta just tell you that I really think that if it ever got big enough, the governments would just squash it. And the crypto people said they can't. Bullshit. They can. If the government really wanted to squash it, they could squash it like a bug.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. There's
They'll just indict everyone involved in it. Honestly.
right.
Do you think there is, though, any idea that there could be a global currency, which is essentially what I think a lot of them are trying to do?
I think that I think what will happen is some sort of that would happen in the relation of some black swan event, meaning that there's some disaster, apocalypse. Hopefully it's a zombie apocalypse, because I fucking
Wouldn't that be
love that.
awesome?
Because I fucking have already been studying how to kill zombies. I would be great at it. I know, I watch
Fantastic.
enough shows and I got the shit down. By the way, I want the fucking sword. I want the stuff.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That's what I want, right?
Can't run out of ammo.
Totally. I want the sword and bow and arrow. Perfect.
I want barbed wire
Nice,
baseball bat.
quiet.
I want baseball bat's pretty good too. But to me, the sword's the fucking real deal, right? But anyway, all right. And I love her. She's the freaking greatest, by the way. And she's also in Black Panther, the same woman, right? But I think it's gonna, for there to be, that would cause. You understand, the world economy is so fragile as it is.
Oh, yeah.
It would have to be an apocalyptic event. Like, for instance, I'll tell you what could cause a one world currency. Someone drops a thermonuclear warhead in the atmosphere and causes an EMP pulse that knocks out the entire financial grid.
Oh, yeah, there you
Nothing
go.
is left. Then they have to somehow turn it back on and reset everything. So, everything is wiped out. They reset it, and from there, okay, maybe you once you got electronics back up, you could have an electronic currency. But this ain't happening anytime
Yeah,
soon.
but there's probably a
No.
better chance of beaver pelts at that point.
Right. Well,
Yeah,
the point is they would have to get the electronics back on. But when you look at things like, for instance, like listen, I think there's a lot of truth in science fiction. There was a TV show I used to love called Colony that got canceled, right? In the last season of Colony, they had this little hub in Seattle where everything was one currency, by the alien people, and they were like, so it could work, but it was going to require some sort of crazy shit to happen that I can't predict.
What do you think about?
I want to be my currency though.
Yeah.
Yeah, you might have.
Wolf currency, wolf dollars.
Yeah, your
really
own
can.
fucking money.
I want to start my own fucking currency.
I've done several private shows for people that have just created their own form of. It's kind
Trust
of
me,
crazy.
I could have.
you know?
I had many opportunities.
Yeah.
I said to I could have gotten involved in Bitcoin early. I could have created my own currency. I said, you know what? I'm the guy they'll go after. I said, I'm not.
Yeah, you're the
I
one.
said, not me. I'm the guy they'll make the example of. I'm not doing that. I'm
What do you
doing
think of William Devane and his gold and silver?
So listen, I love William Devane, and I know the companies that employ William Devane.
Yeah.
And he's a pitchman. But
Yeah.
here's the thing, gold can be a very good investment as part of a fully rounded portfolio.
Yeah.
The problem with a lot of that stuff is that as soon as you have unscrupulous brokers getting a hold of these investors, now there are some companies out there that do it right. They actually will, make money, but others will just look to rip your fucking eyeballs out. So they get some naive guy who gives them stop at $3,000, and they use the system I created, of sales and persuasion, which is the best in the world. They'll use my system, which I hate to even say that I'm sure there are some out there. I know there are. They use it that will extract the million, and
Right.
half of that money is gone before you even enter the commissions and markups and bogus, trades, and it's bullshit.
A lot of erroneous.
But that's not
fees.
William Devane's fault.
Of course.
William
He's just
Devane's a
there
pitch man.
pitching-
He's a pitch man.
Pitching silver that hasn't budged in decades.
I don't want to berate the gold industry, because honestly, there's no different than Wall Street. It's the same
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
So I don't have anything against it personally, but gold is gold though. Gold has value at least.
Gold is gold.
It's
Silver, on the
perceived
other
value.
hand,
It's never really going up.
Yeah.
Right? It's sort of just.
Gold, well,
So-
it's had its run over the years.
over the years. It was
years,
amazing.
yeah.
There was a run up.
To 3,000, 5,000 almost.
Yeah,
In
yeah.
2014, at the end of the commodity super cycle, they were predicting gold would go to 5,000 and blah blah blah. And,
Crazy, man. Oh my God. What would you tell the average average Joe to do with his money right now?
Well, I think that if you're an average person looking to take your hard-earned dollars and invest, I'd put them into an ETF,
Oh, okay.
the S&P.
Yeah, you were saying that before.
No commit, and just put it away and just hold it. Don't trade it. Just let it sit. Don't listen to any brokers calling
People
you on
want
the
to make
phone.
money overnight, though.
I understand
People
that.
need to get rich quick.
But that being said, right, then you could take 10 or 15% of that money and then risk a percentage of your money in more high risk stuff. All right.
Yeah.
So if you had, let's say, 100,000, you put 90,000 away, risk 10,000. But also, I would say, hey, more important than that, you have to ask yourself, why are you short of money right now? What are you doing wrong in your life? Okay, how do you approach money? The way poor people think about money and the things they do to try to earn money are typically the wrong things, and they disempower themselves financially. In other words, they don't own a business, or they're not salespeople, and they don't invest in real estate. You want to have secondary and tertiary sources of income. Easy ways to invest in real estate. There's lots of ways to start building a portfolio, even if you don't have that much money. But if you just think you're going to work at a company and retire one day with a pension and Social Security, it'll be enough to barely pay for your fucking diapers when you're in a nursing home.
Oh
if
my
you're lucky.
God, I think that's one of the biggest fears of people these days is that they will get older and they just don't have anything to support them.
I get it.
When they get older, yeah.
What about like a Roth IRA or an IRA?
Well, okay. Well, I would think that an IRA, yeah, great, but take that money and put it in an ETF.
Okay.
What does it invest in is the question. There's Roth IRAs that invest in one thing, and I want to know where's my money going. Here's the problem with these hedge fund and mutual fund guys. They make money buying and selling, and there's commissions and all this stuff that happens that eats away at your real returns. And when you look at the historical numbers, go back 30 years and say, where would I do better? Putting my money into an ETF and you'd do infinitely better. Just buying it and just putting it away, not trading in and out. And,
Right.
that's why. It's historics,
It's like just sit in traffic. Don't try to find a way around it.
Basically,
it always takes longer.
So if you go,
just
what would you
fucking
recommend
stay there.
putting in an ETF to start for people out there listening?
As much as you can afford. I mean, listen, depending on which ETF you have, sometimes they have penalties for early withdrawals, but most don't. So you can get to these liquid investments that you can get the money out quickly and easily. But I would, try to put as much as you can away. But also stress that there are other ways to invest your money. You want to take some portion and higher risk investments. It depends on your age, too. I wouldn't give the same advice to a 55-year-old woman or man as I would to a 25-year-old woman or man, because the dollar's not easily replaceable at 55. It's just very
Right.
different. So
Roll the dice
you
if
can
you're a
take a
kid.
lot more if you're a kid.
Yeah.
I'd probably put maybe 30% of my money into secure investments, and I'd be risking 70% and then starting to ratchet that up with age, reverse
I have
that.
some I do have an account with early withdrawal penalty, but I also do have one that's more of a high risk right now, and I'm 37. Do you think that's about?
I can't. Listen, I'm not giving investment advice here because it would be not that I can't. I can tell you whatever I
Sure.
want, but it would be unfair not knowing your full picture. Anyone that tries to give you advice that's generic, it's just bullshit. It depends on so many different things. Number one, what's your earning capacity? How much do you make each year? Do you think you need to keep doing it? Do you have any special ability? For me, I know you drop me in the fucking Sahara Desert, I will make $1 million next year. That's me. You could take all my money away. I will always be a millionaire very quickly. That's me, right? If you're that sort of person and my skill sets go into my older ages, I'll make it for the rest of my life till I can lose my power of speech, and even then I'll fucking write it, okay? But if you're the sort of person that you have a very different type of skill set and earning potential, you have to be much more careful with your investments. I don't have to be as careful. I'm a brand almost, like this I am. A brand at this point. So just like I can make money on my brand by being me. But for the average family out there, you got to be really fucking careful. Do not take investment advice from anybody over the telephone.
Oh,
Just don't do it. All right? Just be very careful.
not good. No.
And don't think that you can trade in and out with capital you're not willing to lose completely, because trading in and out, you're going against people that are doing it all day long on Wall Street, who got the latest information. They have information before you get it even, all right? And
The money they get has to come from somewhere.
like they always say, the casinos are not built by winners.
Yeah, you're the one holding the bag when all is said and done.
Is there truth to that too, where if you are going to master Wall Street, you have to be on it all day?
I agree.
Just
Yes.
every second.
Yes.
That's what I've heard. Yeah.
Yes, 100%. I've always said
Either that
that.
or you're just flipping a coin. Maybe you got lucky sometimes.
Exactly.
But remember when people could actually get money from bank interest?
Well, back
When
in
the
1978,
bank
it was 20% interest rate. Sure.
Yeah.
I just
20%.
made 8 cents on a
There,
cent.
yeah. There was always this dream, like everyone's dream back then. When I was a kid, everyone just go, if I just had $1 million to put in the bank, I could live off the interest.
You could still listen. There's still ways to do that. My parents, they still have municipal bonds and corporate bonds, and they got maybe 5 or 6%, and and on
Right.
a few $1 million.
5 or 6% is fucking great as far as compared to the bank.
Well, on 10-year or 20-year bonds they had some older stuff. Some got called, but some didn't. But you can still listen. The S&P is doing like 20+% a year. Just put your money in the S&P. That's what I'm saying with ETFs.
Right.
Just put your money in the S&P. It beats it. I think it's up 30% this year or something. Maybe it's massive.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
1.5% interest on the. But
It's
I
the
get
worst place
interest
to
on
put your
checking.
money.
I love that.
Yeah.
And we give you interest on checking.
Yeah,
don't
right.
we?
Here's a fucking toaster oven too. As you rip your eyeballs out on charges for everything that you
shit.
do.
So you think take it out of the
Awesome.
savings account and have it more in the investment?
I don't think that you should have any money in the bank in a savings account. It's the biggest waste of time, okay? As much as you want to have as much in your account as you need so that you can't get liquid from somewhere else in 5 to 7 days by selling it and moving it to a savings account. It just doesn't make any sense at all. So you want to have just no money in savings, as little as you need just in working capital, and then you have short-term instruments that you can liquidate quickly, money market accounts and stuff. Not even money markets, is shit too, but things that you can turn over, certain types of funds that you can
Yeah, you're not
easily
gonna be
liquidate.
taxed gas from pulling money out. But
Just say rationally. I mean, for the average person, let's say you want 60 to 90 days of working capital, and you're even not you spend readily available. You know what I'm saying?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah. I do like just having a checking. My checking account just got fucking hacked into. They took a shitload out.
Really? But the bank will give that back to you.
Yeah.
They did.
So I
Always do.
Yeah, I
Feel good about that.
filled out all that shit, but somebody got it.
How much?
It was about 100,000. Yeah.
You're a fool. 100,000 in your checking is a perfect example. This guy. You have 100,000 in your checking account. What are you doing?
I know. He
I was paying
noticed
some
like
big
the
bills.
other day.
I was paying some big bills.
Sounds like you got a couple of ex-wives in there.
Yeah, he
Pretty
does.
stupid. Yeah. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, that's true. Did your ex down in
No,
whatever?
I was done with her in
Whatever jail
fucking
she's in, hack into your-
2009. I paid the last of her off in 2009.
Yeah, that's
Lucky you.
That was it. And then now she,
$100 a year.
she wound up getting about $1 million from me. And then last we heard, she was arrested in South Carolina for
what?
shoplifting.
Shoplifting.
Merchandise under $1,000 or
She
something.
turned into David Bowie,
And she was
a meatloaf.
What do you mean?
Not a handsome woman.
She's a handsome woman. Okay, well then you need a need for handsome women.
really.
She's a big woman.
It was 20 years. No, I married her in 90.
Was she handsome when you married her?
She was very pretty. She looked like kind of like Nev Campbell.
Okay.
Kind of thing. And now
But
she
you just
looks like
knew. You
Lady
always
Campbell.
can. I guess you. But she had bad leading indicators. I always say it's about the ankles. You look at the girl's ankles. If the
Yeah,
ankles,
yeah.
you can always tell if the ankles.
They're a little thick.
She thought an
be a
ETF
problem.
It's like a bad leading indicator.
Yeah.
We call those leading indicators in Wall Street.
Yeah.
The ankles lead to bad things typically.
You obviously had your share of what they would, I guess, call womanizing.
I have. I
But,
don't like that anymore. But
No.
I am single though. Again,
Oh, you are?
I am.
Was the whore thing true? Like all the hookers coming in and out all the time from?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course. With money and power, the women do come in there, and it's Trump.
exactly.
Trump got in trouble for saying, they'll let you grab them by the pussy.
Well, but you know,
Meaning you
my
can-
my
you're in
ex.
there.
I'm single now, but I was married at the time, or I was in a relationship, very serious, long-term relationship with a woman. And when that came out with Trump, she was like, "Oh, come on, every guy, like it's true what he said." And she's easy with me, like when I'm, because I'm famous, you can do
Right.
it gives you certain limits. I don't do it, and I don't even speak like that because the world doesn't allow you to speak like that anymore.
Right.
But what he said was basically true.
He was saying you're in a room, your rich, powerful guys are in that room. The women that are in there are there for the rich, powerful guys.
Exactly.
And as a thing, it wasn't literally.
No,
He just goes, they'll let you kiss him, they'll let you grab him by the pussy. Like, as to show how much they'll allow you to do, just that they want
wasn't. I get it.
They take it literally. Everything's fucking
Everything
literally.
with Trump is like literally twisted and turned and so,
Yeah.
usurped for the most negative possible inference that you
Right.
could give to it. Yeah.
And the fucked up thing is, he's the only one talking like a real person.
Well, that's why he got
We've
elected.
all heard people talk like this. We know what is sarcasm. We know what's real. We know it's exaggeration.
That's why he got. He just fucks with the press. He does it.
Fucking loves
he does it
fucking
just
with
to
them.
fuck with them. You know.
It's
We're also a
hilarious.
society that's lost our idea of irony, so it's very easy.
Yeah, that's true too.
No, I think that's true and not true. There's this vocal minority.
true.
No. Let me explain. I mean, I know that I really believe that 90% of the population does not believe in this idiocy with political correctness and all this fucking nonsense that's destroying the fabric of our society, safe spaces and all this shit. Okay? I really believe that. What you have is a very, very loud minority right now on Twitter and whatnot. And also people in positions of power are, let's just say it's easy to be a liberal after you're worth $5 billion.
Yeah.
Very easy to be liberal. Yeah, well, how about give all your money back and then let's see if you're fucking liberal again,
Yeah,
okay?
spread it around and then start over.
And start over and see if you want to have everyone be this.
Under the system you put in place.
And I have great respect, okay, believe it or not, for women. I do. I have a daughter who's a professional and she's awesome. My mother was one of the first women accountants in the Big Eight of firms. It was the Big Eight back then in the 50s, back in the Mad Men days. She was a CPA. She went and became an attorney. She was the oldest woman in New York State to pass the bar at 70 years old.
Wow.
Okay, she won a pro bono lawyer of the year in her mid-70s. So I have tremendous respect for women. It's not about that. I think most women of substance think this is nonsense. They think this is absolute nonsense.
Sure hope.
Now things had to change. There was the Me Too movement. There's a lot that was good. Some things had to fucking change. All right, they did. But like anything else, there's this pendulum that swings way too far over, and it becomes guilty till proven innocent, and that's fucked up. And this whole he said, she said from 22 years ago, that's a very different thing than Harvey Weinstein. So there's a very big continuum here, okay, of what's, I know people, I have friends whose lives were destroyed by Me Too, and while I wouldn't want them dating my daughter, the women around them were playing the game exactly the same.
I don't think people understand that.
My friend Brett Ratner, famous director, okay?
Sure.
The women, he was showing me text of women who was saying that he did stuff, and that, Brett, I love you, come, when are we going to see? And the same woman was saying he harassed them.
Yeah.
They're pulling on him to try to get parts. So it was both, I think the real victims, that whole thing in Hollywood, were the women who didn't get the parts. Because they wouldn't play the game. You have women who are famous now saying, yeah, really, you're the one that you played the game.
Meanwhile, the only way you got into the business was playing the game.
And it had to change, and I'm glad it has changed. But it's definitely gone too far, and I think really the vast majority of women don't like what happened. They think something it had to happen, it went overboard.
Yeah, I think guys got to be a lot more careful these days, and for nothing, for innocent things.
Press wants us to believe that blacks and whites don't get along. I think it's bullshit.
Yeah, you go
I have so many
outside,
black friends.
everywhere, yeah,
It's
it's
a
just-
complete harmony. And glad
fine.
that there was shit that happened in the 60s and 70s that it had to
course.
change. But let me just tell you something. I have so many. I don't even distinguish with color until they point to me.
Yeah,
personally.
until it's
They
thrown in
throw
your
my
face.
It was never an issue that I noticed until recently.
Exactly.
Where it's now like you have to realize this again, and it's like I
love
remember the
but
90s when no one
just-
gave a shit.
Yeah.
But there was in the 60s, things had to change.
Of course they did.
And those people are heroes. People like Martin Luther King and all this, they're heroes. But nowadays, it's just, and I don't even think it's black. It's not like that. This is all bullshit.
Bunch of liberal white
It's by the,
dudes.
you got it.
It's not even white and black. I mean,
No, it's not white black.
White and blackers are
Nothing.
we're basically put in the same categories,
Yes.
especially the males.
Yes.
It's just
Yeah.
dividing everybody now into a whole bunch of brand new things. that
Exactly.
we've
Love
never even heard of.
division.
It's
They
just
love
they're
outrage.
trying to
Love-
create
yeah.
division and outrage when I look around and everyone's getting along and out there in the world.
And everyone's too good. You go to a
Bizarre.
restaurant, there isn't the people yelling epithets at each other and fighting. It's
Nonsense.
crazy.
It's crazy.
But
It's
you
a
watch
few
the
very
news
loud, sick
and you would
people.
think,
It's some loud, sick people
Yeah.
that are harassing people. That's not how people feel. I don't believe that for a second.
you go. I forgot what was the comic. So you watch the news. It's death and destruction. Then you open the window.
Bill Hicks.
Bill Hicks.
Yeah.
You open the window and you just hear. Like
beautiful out.
It's a beautiful
No,
day.
listen.
All the fucking gunfire.
Why the news and the press is determined to divide us is a question that I really don't quite
Yeah.
yet know the answer. But there's
think anybody.
something out, some very odd shit beneath the surface here that's not reared its ugly head yet. Of why they want everyone to hate each other.
Yeah.
I
What's
always
the end
assume
game?
it's financial. And that's
It will always is in the end,
yeah,
and that's a very good
yeah.
point. But the point is where. But where is a good point. But where? It's like this
I
whole
have
thing.
no idea.
Everyone gets a trophy. No, they fucking don't. There's winners and there's losers.
Always.
And losing sucks. It's not
Yeah.
how you play the game.
Makes
You want to
you
play
wanna
the game
be a
according
winner.
to the rules, but you want to fucking win.
Of course.
And they took all this shit out, and some of it probably comes from people that was in this like Revenge of the Nerds and the tech platforms. They run the news.
Right.
They would people pick last, a lot of them, and they don't want anyone to feel that pain, so they sort of shift the fucking algorithms. I don't know what the fuck is going on because
I don't know what it is or who's
Well-
responsible for it. Is it one fucking iconic behind the curtain?
when you
guy
meet these
or
individual people, like,
conglomeration of-
when you meet a lot of these people, these tech guys, they're fucking great guys and women.
Yeah, some are, yeah.
So it's like I don't know. It's really
Sometimes
weird. Like,
Nerds are fucking sociopaths and antisocial and complete pieces of shit. It's not the fun '80s movie.
yeah.
Some of them are bad people.
Oh yeah. We gotta head out also. But Jordan, thanks so much,
Thank you
man.
for coming in. It's a pleasure meeting
What a
you.
blast.